Welcome back to the show this morning. It's 6:17 on this pre-hump day edition of the Real Investment Show. So just recently on Twitter, a guy named Steve Burns asked the question. He says, who's richer? The guy that has a $500,000 loan at the bank and owns $1 million house, or the guy that has $500,000 in the bank and doesn't have any debt? Now, what the point he was trying to get across is that, you know, clearly if you don't have any debt, that you're better off, right? You have money, you've got liquidity, you know what you want, and it's a great point. But there's an old saying that goes back. It says, you know, if you owe the bank, you know, $100,000, it's your problem. But if you owe the bank $1 million, it's the bank's problem. You know, and this is truly a true statement. And it just kind of, and of course, there's been a lot of talk lately. You know, we've written some articles recently kind of battling back this idea that socialism is a better form of a better form of economic system than capitalism, because capitalism is so unfair. You know, the rich get richer, the poor get poor. And look, I mean, you can certainly see that issue, right? But as we've talked about here recently, capitalism provides you the opportunity to build wealth if you choose to do it. And yes, capitalism isn't perfect. And I'll give you two examples today, one on each side. Capitalism provides people that see a need or have an idea, the ability to do something with it and to make money. So for instance, you know, you go to the airport, right? What do you see at the airport, Brent? All the time.
Airplanes.
You see airplanes.
Taxi cab.
But you see people lugging around a bunch of suitcases, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got this, you're wheeling the suitcase behind. Back in the day, when you and I were growing up, suitcases didn't have wheels on them.
That's right.
Shocker. Nobody remembers that. There was a time, believe it or not, you had to carry your suitcase.
No, the verb was lug.
Lug. Correct. There were no wheels on a suitcase. But then a guy came along and says, what if I stuck wheels and a handle on that suitcase? And all of a sudden, boom, business.
Why did he not get the Nobel Prize?
I don't know, but he should have.
Yes.
So, but now, you know, we're getting lazy and we don't want to actually have to wheel the suitcase behind us. That's too much trouble. So a company called Vespa has come out with a robotic suitcase. Basically, it just trolls along behind you. So it follows you to where you're going.
Your own little R2-D2.
It is, but it carries your luggage. So, but the point is this is capitalism, right? Somebody saw a need and said, "I'm gonna fix that, right? I'm gonna fix that need, and I'm gonna start a business that does that." I mean, think about the guy that you know, after Model T, Ford came out with the Model T. Some guy was sitting around going, "You know, when it rains, I can't see. What if I put some wipers on there, right?" And got windshield wipers, and the guy built $1 billion business out of windshield wipers. That's capitalism. See, that's how capitalism is supposed to work, right? You see a need, and you go out and you create it. We see this stuff all around us all the time, right? There's people everywhere coming up with these really cool little ideas, and somebody goes, "Wow, that's a great idea." And so they start selling some product, they advertise, they build a business. That's why we have advertisers on the radio station, right? We've got people that are advertising their business every day right here on the radio station saying, here's my product or service, come see me, I'm going to take good care of you. And a business makes money, right? But that's how capitalism works. That's the benefit of capitalism, which is that you have that opportunity. You can't go to other countries and go, I think I'll do this, because that opportunity is not available to you. And it's regardless of education. It's regardless of wealth. You don't have to have a bunch of money to start capitalism. You don't have to have an education. If you've got an idea and the will to do it, you can do it. And you can build a lot of wealth doing this. I mean, we have businesses all over this country. People didn't build billion-dollar empires, right? But there's a lot of people that have built millions of dollars of wealth running a business. And they have done very, very well for themselves. And that's the beauty and importance of capitalism. And then there's the other guys. And this goes back to my original comment about debt. There's definitely some issues within our society and with our system you can certainly understand why young millennials coming out of college would go, capitalism broken, we need socialism. Here's the secret. If you want to make a lot of money, rack up a ton of debt. I wouldn't actually recommend you do this. It only works for a few people.
Until everyone else catches on.
No, it's a function of size.
Ah.
See, the old saying used to be, if you have 100,000 in debt, it's your problem. If you have a million, it's the bank's problem. That's no longer the case. The numbers are way too small.
Too many zeros now.
Yeah. It's got to be serious numbers, right? Adam Newman, who was building a office space leasing company called WeWork, borrowed billions of dollars from SoftBank and JP Morgan and others to go on this, what they call a blitzkrieg approach to building out their business. They borrowed just billions of dollars in debt, and they went out and leased space and created these WeWork office sharing facilities. And the idea was, we're going to run this thing up. It's going to be great. It's a unicorn. It's worth, they're slapping crazy valuations on this thing, like $47 billion for this company. Now, mind you, this is a company that just simply leases office space and then subleases it to other people. That's their business. Now, it's not a high margin business, but when you're talking about a company with $47 billion in valuation, that is something of significance, right? I mean, $47 billion in market cap. That's, huge. That's giant. Kind of put that into some scale. ExxonMobil, one of the world's largest oil providers, right? Their market cap's only $290 billion. So you're saying that WeWork, this company that just leases office space and subleases it, is worth a quarter of what ExxonMobil is, and you start putting these things into some perspective, it begins to be a little bit more rational, right? The point is, though, he goes out and he borrows billions of dollars to do this. And the whole goal was simply to take this company public. And JP Morgan was going to take this company public. And now here's the catch, right? This is why people think that capitalism is broken. And a lot of people think the stock market's a scam. JP Morgan is going to take this company that is functionally bankrupt. I mean, this company is just all debt, has no revenue of any sort. And what are they going to do? They're going to sell it to you. They're going to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Investor, this is a great stock. You need to own this company. It's going public. You need to buy it so that I can take your money and I can give it to the guys running this business over here that aren't making any money, that have taken on this tremendous amount of debt. Why the SEC, by the way, is not doing their job in investigating this whole WeWork issue is beyond me. This is a Ponzi scheme right up front. And it's just amazing that nobody is investigating this thing at this point. But Adam Newman does this. Now, Adam Newman, during the process of running this company, was doing all these shenanigans behind the scenes. And he transferred about $700 million into his own pockets through a variety of different shells and organizations of movement of money back and forth. So here's this guy running this company using billions of dollars worth of debt and other investors' money to basically build a really nice, tidy financial sum for himself as CEO of this company. Well, long story short, WeWork is not going public. They were unable to get to market quick enough before somebody kind of turned on the light and all the roaches went running for the corners. And now he has so much debt. WeWork has so much debt. SoftBank, who was their investor, has had to kick up another $6.5 billion to take over the company because they can't afford, there's so much debt on this company, and SoftBank is so far into this thing that they can't afford this company not to go public. They've got to do something to get this thing public at some valuation. Now, what's the valuation currently based upon the new round of funding that SoftBank's having to kick in? It's not $47 billion. It's not $20 billion. It's $8 billion. Now, here's the real kicker for you. This is why people think capitalism is broken. Andy Newman, the guy who basically ran this thing into the ground, has shifted $700 million off the books into his own pockets, is going to get $200 million to leave the company. Jamie Dimon over at JP Morgan also in big trouble with WeWork because they were behind this whole scene and helping facilitate this company go public. If they don't get this company public, if they don't get it to market, and they don't get it to market successfully, there is a potential that SoftBank may well cease to exist and JP Morgan could be in a lot of trouble. That's how far they are into this thing. So what are the numbers today? Apparently, if you've got $1 billion in debt, it's the bank's problem, not yours. Be right back after the break.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.